Thank you all so much for taking some time out of your day to be able to spend with us for the next hour to talk to you a little bit around Ansible Automation Platform and Citrix NetScaler, two solutions that are very near and dear to my heart. My name is John Gibson. I'm going to be your MC for the evening or afternoon or morning, wherever you are located. I am the North America ISV Partner Alliance Manager here at Red Hat, helping with the relationship between Citrix and Red Hat. I am also, coincidentally enough, a former Citrite. So again, like I said, this is very near and dear to my heart, professionally and literally. Um, I'm joined today by two fantastic fellows to help give this presentation for you all today, Konstantinos and Kevin. If you guys want to do some brief introductions for yourself.
Certainly, John. Hi to everyone. My name is Konstantinos. I'm lead product manager for NetScaler, and I'm driving all things related to NetScaler automation. I'm happy to be here with my folks from Red Hat to discuss what we can do with Ansible Automation Platform.
I'm Kevin Holmes. I'm a principal solution architect for Red Hat within the ecosystem. And prior to Red Hat, I was passionate about automated deployments. And so this led me into some of my passion and current experience with Ansible Automation Platform.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys. So just a couple housekeeping items before we begin. We will have a Q&A portion towards the end of the session today. So I will direct your questions over into the Q&A button down at the bottom of your screen and put them in there. We will answer them in chat or save them for later on in today's discussion. Your audio and video should be off. If in the event you somehow do have access to it, we ask that you kindly keep it off just until the time is that we can ask you guys to have that on. There will be two polls that we are going to do throughout this event. So you will see a pop-up come up. Just recommend that you guys participate. It's supposed to be a little interactive for you guys. So please answer those, and in case you see those coming up. And with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started with today's session. So thank you guys again for taking some time to join us. Konstantinos, next. Agenda, what are we going to talk about today? So we're going to start off with the importance of network automation for DevOps and platform engineering, go into why use NetScaler with Ansible Automation Platform, the benefits associated. Konstantinos is going to walk us through a quick demo, and then we're going to talk a little bit around the key takeaways and answer some of your questions. Next slide. Thank you. So to sort of level set around NetScaler and Red Hat, we've been partners for quite some time, but really mainly a lot of our integrations have been on the NetScaler side. And so NetScaler provides a comprehensive cloud-native stack with production-ready ingress, with complete observability and security solutions for Red Hat. NetScaler is actually certified with RHEL, OpenShift, and Ansible. But today, obviously, our conversation is going to be centered around the automation platform. But really, in a nutshell, we have a lot of complex hybrid IT environments, and automation is going to be more and more essential as we continue to scale out infrastructures and also have the need to do more with less. So like I said, NetScaler is a certified Red Hat automation platform partner, which provides advanced networking automation for seamless application delivery in your hybrid IT environment. Again, Citrix NetScaler has certifications for RHEL. It's got certifications for OpenShift. We actually did a webinar about a month or two back, specifically around the OpenShift side, and we'll be doing one in the future around how NetScaler integrates with RHEL in the future. So stay tuned for that. We will be providing this slide deck to you guys as a follow-up. So some of these links that you'll see there around some of the highlights, you will be able to follow up on those at a later time. And with that being said, I want to pass over to Kevin. Kevin, can you talk us through a little bit around why Red Hat Ansible Automation Platform and what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So, John, this is, to me, the most important slide when it comes to talking about the Ansible Automation Platform. It is such a basic slide, but from the beginning, the mantra for Ansible has been simple, powerful, agentless. And I'd like to just break that down with each of those, a little bit of discussion about each of those. So from a simplicity standpoint, I've led a number of workshops, trained hundreds of people to potentially thousands, right? To understand Ansible Automation Platform, intelligent IT people who just hadn't necessarily worked with Ansible before. And from the beginning of a couple of hour workshop right to the end of it, we see that people go from knowing nothing about Ansible, understanding the language or the execution of it as well, right to the end of it where they're actually automating things, real things that would make sense in production. from the understanding of powerful in the middle. I come from an IT ops, DevOps background where deploying things and updates and patches was really near and dear to my heart. But the longer I've spent with Ansible, the more I realize that there are dozens of other use cases for this, other people within IT. It's become almost a collaboration tool where different departments work together. Instead of having silos of knowledge, you actually have multiple teams working on the same platform. One of the ones that I was very interested in, I started to see as far as networking goes, how many networking teams were actually using Ansible for this, which leads to the agentless perspective of it, right? If you need to connect to things extensively outside of a standard IT framework, right? This is where the different methods of connection are crucial, and the agentless nature of Ansible is a core, is the foundation of that. So on to the next slide, we talk about really just a sort of a brief overview of all of the aspects here within the access management, the security, the automation controller. This is very much a quick summary of all the components that go into the Ansible automation platform. But from one side to the other, we have considerations of security, access management, visibility, observability, an audit trail, the concept that when we're launching privilege actions or privilege automations, that we can track those back down to the originator or to the core user. So this is all crucial in an audit trail, being able to track these right down to data center, cloud, and edge activities that automate these. And then on to the next slide, we break that down again, just looking at the different areas where the Ansible automation platform can touch. We talked about Ansible as a collaboration tool, and I really think that it's so difficult sometimes. It's easy to start talking about Ansible as this magic wand that can fix and touch everything, but in all reality, there is so much that it can do. It's so capable. As an evangelist and someone who gets excited about Ansible, I have to really caution myself to not just get all fidgety and too excited about it. But with all the things that Ansible can touch and automate, it is truly, in my eyes, the de facto standard now for anything automation. So I'll leave it at that before I get too excited. But I'm here for any questions. I'll pass it on to Konstantinos now.
Thank you very much, Kevin. So I wouldn't say that I don't agree with you. I mean, that's why we are here. We are seeing the same thing happening also for network automation. Every single customer is trying to find ways to automate their IT operations. And this is what I'm going to share also later on today. But before that, let me share some things about NetScaler, because I want everyone to be familiar with NetScaler. NetScaler is an application delivery and security platform. And let me start with that. And what that really means is that it lets you observe every application, understand every interaction, gain the most useful insights. Because as we tend to say, what you are aware of, you can protect, and what you can understand, you can optimize. NetScaler sits in the middle of every traffic that is reaching the application. So this gives us a way to also, let's say, analyze traffic, and also, let's say, give you a way to have better performance, enable secure access, and also the maximum reliability. Having said that, I want to share some things concerning NetScaler evolution, because most of the people out there, when they are talking about NetScaler, they are talking about a load balancer, although it's not a load balancing device, it's more than a load balancing device. So if you can see here on my screen, the evolution, we have started by focusing on high performance for load balancing, SSL performance, load balancing, and global server load balancing. So we are talking about also load balancing between data centers, between on-prem and hybrid multi-cloud environments. Then we focused also on providing gateway capabilities for Citrix workloads, anything related to authentication, ICAP proxy, HDX insights, and things like that. And of course, if you are familiar with the broader portfolio, we are providing also multi-tenant platform, the SDX, and also a way so that you can manage from a single point of view all of the different NetScaler devices, and also see insights and see what is really happening on your infrastructure. Which basically is the ADM management, as I have already mentioned. One important thing is that we have focused so that you can use the NetScaler in several different environments. So we are talking both for virtual and cloud form factors, either it is deployments on-prem or on any public cloud, even if we are talking about Kubernetes deployment. So we even have a, let's say, containerized form factor, the CPX. We are offering also capabilities when it comes to access and application security, namely WAF, bot management, API protection. And of course, what we are going to focus today are all things related to automation. And we are going to focus on the infrastructure as code integration that we are providing with Ansible. In addition to that, we have also things related to observability integrations. And as I mentioned, microservices deployment models through an ingress controller, and of course, the CPX, which is the containerized form factor. But to be able to do all of these, we are following a really simple principle. We are following something that we are calling the power of one. What this really means is that we are always trying to keep things simple. And this, let's say, provides us with benefits when it comes to architectural decisions, when it comes to performance, when it comes to the different form factors, or to how you interact with NetScaler. So one key point here is that we are following a one-pass architecture. So basically, previously I mentioned that we are offering a way for better performance. When we are talking about one-pass architecture, basically what we are saying is that every packet that is going through NetScaler is opened once. So actions are taken in a single pass, resulting in industry-leading performance. In addition to that, we are maintaining a single code base for every different form factor. So the same code base is being used for providing, let's say, the VPXs that are available on any public cloud, AWS, GCP, or Azure. They can run on, let's say, ESXi or Zen Server and several other, let's say, vendors with whom we are working with. And we are offering also hardware versions, the MPX and the SDX. And all of these share the exact same code base, which basically means that every feature is available with every form factor. The last thing that I want to mention here before moving forward to the main topic, which is automation, I want just to mention that in the same way, we are trying to keep simple also the way that you can interact with NetScaler. So we are offering a single console service, either it is as a service or on-prem offering, so that you can also have a single management interface, a single pane of glass to manage or, let's say, monitor your NetScaler. With that, before starting with our, let's say, main agenda related to automation, I would like to ask a question to the audience. So, Rohit, if you can trigger the poll so that the attendees can provide their feedback. So it's a really simple question, but we would like to understand also whether you have used Ansible with NetScaler, because we want to understand also our audience and understand how valuable is the integrations for you. I can see that several people have started voting. We are almost at 70%, so let's wait for a couple of more seconds. thank you everyone who has voted. So let's move with focusing on automation. So as a first step, I want to share some insights about what we are getting as responses from our customers. So we are interacting with many customers from the IT, that are coming from IT departments, and there are some specific challenges that they are facing. The challenges have to do with how they can scale, how they can be flexible, how they can be consistent, how they can utilize their resources in, let's say, in a good way, how they can reduce errors, and how they can increase security. So let's talk a little more about each one of these. When it comes to scalability, when it comes to IT, we are seeing more and more NetScalers being deployed. And what that means is that customers need to have an easy way to manage all of the different appliances. In addition to that, we are seeing that DevOps practices have started becoming a standard. And also IT has started adopting agile practices, and also infrastructure is part of this. So we need to make sure that when it comes to leveraging the resources, these resources should be leveraged in a modular and a reusable manner. So whenever you are, let's say, configuring an appliance, you need to make sure that it can be easily used also for other workloads, and it can be easily configured. In addition to that, every customer is trying to follow some standards, how they can define the infrastructure in a standardized way, to follow, let's say, security best practices, to follow, let's say, network best practices and things like that. Also, in addition to that, we need to help you to minimize cost and also improve performance. When it comes to IT and specifically to application delivery, we are talking about, let's say, lots of traffic going through a NetScaler. So we need to make sure that the NetScaler appliance is being used efficiently so that we can minimize also the cost, and you will also need to use less NetScaler so that you can maximize the impact of each device. In addition to that, when we are talking about, let's say, manually configuring the appliances, this obviously leads to human error, and we need to find a way to reduce that. And in addition to that, as I mentioned, it is a frequent request how someone can improve their security posture and how they can comply with the different security requirements and the different compliance requirements and policies. This is where automation comes into the picture. And these are some really common use cases that we are seeing. We are seeing more and more customers adopting automation for NetScaler to achieve operational efficiency. And the most common use cases that we are seeing have to do with how I can create a self-servicing infrastructure portal, a portal where I can go, let's say, configure load balancing, configure content switching, or let's say, expose, to put it simple, my applications to the internet or to either internal audience. In addition to that, we are seeing more and more customers making NetScaler part of DevOps practices and also, let's say, automation pipelines. These pipelines can be manual or they are integrated with existing CI/CD tools. And of course, that means that when talking about CI/CD pipelines, everything is around code. So they are trying to make NetScaler also part of the same, let's say, Git repositories that are being used for application development. In addition to that, we are seeing two additional use cases, how they can easily auto-scale to meet demand, and how they can easily migrate from on-prem to cloud or vice versa, or to hybrid, let's say, in multi-cloud environments. The reason that I'm mentioning that is because, as I previously said, NetScaler is a single code base product. which basically means that whatever template you are going to create using Ansible playbooks, that would definitely mean that the same playbook can be used with every other form factor or with every other NetScaler appliance that might have been deployed on public cloud, on-prem, or anywhere that, let's say, your architecture demands. But how can you really measure success? Because we talked about challenges, we talked about what are the things that we are seeing, but you need to invest on that. And we know that when it comes to writing, let's say, infrastructure as code templates, this requires some investment, this requires some effort. How can you measure success? You will see that you will have better deployment speed. The change management will be something easier than before. You will be able to scale easier. And of course, all of these things lead to customer satisfaction, because when we are talking about deployment speed, change management, and all of these things, that really means that the customers that are using the actual applications will be satisfied with how best and performant will be, let's say, your IT operations. In addition to that, you will see that it will be easier for having consistency and compliance for the different requirements, also risk mitigations, and all of the other things that are the most important challenges that the customers are facing. So with that, let me share some things about what we can actually do with our integration with Ansible. So with the integrations that we are offering, we can give you a way to automate day 0 to N operations, starting from provisioning, moving to platform configurations, applications, and scaling and upgrades, which basically means that you can fully automate everything related to, let's say, application delivery and security to achieve operational excellence. So you can deploy NetScalers, either a standalone or an HA mode or GSLB or several other, let's say, topologies that we are supporting. You can do all things related to platform configuration, starting from layer 1 to layer 3, and anything related to configuring system users or groups or global policies or anything related to syslogs, VLANs, NTP, to name a few. And also after that, the most common ones, everything related to your application. So if you would like to do load balancing or content switching, or to create some rewrite responder policies, or to do application protection, or even, let's say, to configure through Ansible NetScaler to export metrics to third-party observability solutions like Prometheus, Grafana, Splunk, and things like that, you can easily write an Ansible template, an Ansible playbook, and instruct NetScaler to do all of these things, either export metrics or, let's say, configure the appliance to serve your traffic. In addition to that, when it comes to being in production, the most important thing is how you can easily scale, how you can also do all things related to day 2 operations. So when it comes to that, we are supporting through our Ansible collections, Blue-green deployment, certificate management, or the most common ones, how you can upgrade basically NetScalers to newer versions. But we don't stop here. If you would like also to leverage the NetScaler console that I mentioned previously, we are offering also an Ansible collection for the NetScaler console, so that you can also leverage the benefits of, let's say, a control plane. So you can also leverage things like stylebooks or config packs, or do things like API gateway and more. The last thing that I want to mention here is that in addition to the integrations that we are offering, because we know that it is really important for you to follow the best practices, we are focusing always to create something that we are calling golden templates, playbooks that are following the NetScaler best practices. So we are going to, as John mentioned, we are going to share the slides with you. The links will be there, and you will have access to see how we are doing this type of things. So having said that, The first thing that I'm going to talk about is our Ansible collection for NetScaler. So our Ansible collection is available on the Automation Hub. It is available also on Galaxy, and the code is stored on GitHub. It is open source. You can see also the code there, and it works with the Ansible Automation Platform, where we are going to see a demo today, along with other ways of using Ansible, like the CLI, Tower, AWX, and things like that. The link is here. You can access through this link also our collection on Automation Hub, but during the demo, I will also show you how you can do that. One last thing is that the Ansible collection comes with 100% feature coverage. So whatever you can do through the NetScaler GUI or through API, it is available also through Ansible. So there is no limitation of what are the operations that you can achieve through Ansible. As I mentioned, the Ansible collection is on GitHub. So the code is maintained on GitHub. And we took one additional decision to accept also contributions on GitHub. So if you would like, let's say, to see how we are working, how we are maintaining our code, what are the practices that we are following, or to introduce some new features, or to collaborate with us, with the development team, or with the PMs, please feel free to visit the collection on GitHub. You can sign the contribution license agreement, and you can work with us, and we are happy to work with you. And the last thing that I want to share here is how you can also access the Ansible collection for the NetScaler console, the ADM. So the Ansible collection for ADM does not come with 100% of feature coverage. This is something that we are working on right now, but we are focusing on anything related to app-centric features. So anything related to configuring application-centric, let's say, configurations, it is there. It is available also on GitHub. And again, it works in the same way with Ansible Automation Platform, CLI, Tower, AWS, etc. So again, the slides will be shared with you so that you can also access, let's say, all of the implementation. So with that, I would like to shift gears and to move to the demo so that you can see how you can do all of these things in action. So for our demo, I decided to do something that it is simple, but it is the most common thing that we are getting as a request from customers. And this has to do with application delivery automation. So usually what happens is that during all of the years, when it comes to IT, the most frequent request that IT was getting is was coming from the software engineering department. And what that means is that after, let's say, the application developers have created their application, they have deployed their application on an internal environment, on a development environment or a staging or a, let's say, pre-production environment, they wanted to expose access to these applications. Similarly, for the production. But to be able to do that, to expose access to these applications, they had to go through IT, to open a ticket to the IT. Then several tickets were gathered on, let's say, ticket management solutions, and the IT had to review each one of these, talk with security, find out what are, let's say, the security requirements, talk to networking to see what are the requirements for networking. And this led to much time, and also, of course, when we are talking about time, we are talking about cost, and of course, engineering was still waiting for, let's say, releasing their applications. So this was a, let's say, pain for every persona, and this is where automation comes into the picture. So what we are getting as an ask is, how can I really simplify this process? How I can really automate the process of configuring, let's say, this backend, so a NetScaler can know that should serve this traffic for the green application and for the red application, for example. How I can easily configure load balancing. Let's say that we are going to have 3 green applications, and we need to load balance between these 3 green applications. how I can create the algorithm, the bindings that need to happen on NetScaler, all of these things. How I can also create, let's say, routes. Whenever someone is visiting an IP, /green, the traffic should be routed to the green application, or /red, the traffic should be routed to the red application. So basically, we needed to offer a way through code to configure these content switching, let's say, configurations, including virtual servers, policies, actions, the rules that are being involved, and all of these things. And the last thing is how I can really create this IP that is going to be used, because you need also to allocate an IP. So all of these things require a manual effort and a collaboration with all of the different stakeholders internally in the organization. So this is what I'm going to show during the demo, how you can easily use a playbook to configure NetScaler to route traffic to a green application and a red application through a VIP. In addition to that, I will use the exact same template to create the exact same configuration in another NetScaler, which is a different version and deployed on GCP. And how we are going to do that? Through the Ansible automation platform. This is, at high level, the automation flow that we are going to use. So basically, a developer, a network engineer, the automation team, or a DevOps engineer is writing the playbook in the form of infrastructure as code. They are using Ansible. They are storing the playbook on GitHub so that they can have all the benefits like versioning and things like that. And we are using the Ansible automation platform and all of the features of the Ansible automation platform. So we have the RBAC there, as Kevin mentioned. We are doing the job scheduling. We have access to logging and reporting. We are triggering jobs, so we are doing playbook execution. Basically, we are doing all of the orchestration around by using Ansible. And through the Ansible automation platform, we are going to execute these playbooks against a NetScaler deployed on Azure and a NetScaler deployed on GCP. So let's see how we can do something like that. So let me explain a little more how my infrastructure looks like. So you can see here that I have deployed Ansible automation platform. I have deployed also this NetScaler, which has been deployed on GCP, and this NetScaler that has been deployed on Azure. In addition to that, I have also my repository that I'm going to use, which contains the playbook itself. And in addition to that, as you will see here in my, let's say, requirements.yaml file, I'm specifying which is the collection that I'm going to use. And the collection is the netscaler.adc. I will log in afterwards also on the automation hub to show you also where the NetScaler ADC collection is. So having said that, some additional things concerning our infrastructure. So I have created a resource group on Azure where I have deployed the Ansible automation platform as a single VM. And this is how I can get access to this. In addition to that, I have also created a resource group where I have deployed also my demo applications and also the NetScaler that has been deployed on Azure. So you can see here that I have the NetScaler that is running. I have also deployed the ADM agent, which is a way to provide the license to my NetScaler. And in addition to that, I have deployed two Ubuntu VMs. This is the first VM, and this is the second VM. Each one of these VMs is running a really simple Apache server. The one will respond with a green background. The other one will respond with a red background. The exact same configuration has also happened here on GCP. So if we see also my configuration on GCP, you will see that again, I have deployed my NetScaler, I have deployed the agent to license this, and I have 2 VMs for this one. Something to note also here is that because I want to, the main reason for using an application delivery controller is to route traffic through the controller itself. So for that reason, my applications in both Azure and GCP have been deployed on different subnets. So you need to access these applications only through the ADC. So let's move to the Ansible automation platform to show you how we can do also the configuration. So just give me a minute to log in. This will only take a minute. So as you can see, I have logged in as an admin. The reason for that is because I want to show you some additional things that I have done, mainly because I want to show you some good practices that I have followed. So the first thing is that I have created a credential type. So NetScaler has a way to provide credentials. For that reason, I have created a custom NetScaler credential type, which needs a Nitro pass and a Nitro user as, let's say, inputs. And I will provide this as extra variables during my job execution. In addition to that, I have created 2 hosts. One host is the Azure NetScaler, and the other host is the GCP NetScaler. Now, if we take a closer look to each one of these, you will see that this is the management IP for the one deployed on Azure. And also I have, for simplicity, I have decided to also add my add my variables that are going to be used during the playbook execution here under the host. In addition to that, you will see that it is similar also for the GCP NetScaler host. It is a different IP. The IPs are different also for the red and the green application, and the virtual IP that I'm going to use is again different. I have created an inventory. This inventory consists of the 2 different hosts because I want to execute the same playbook against these 2 hosts. And if I go to my projects, I have created a NetScaler AAP project, which basically is the glue so that I can use the code from my GitHub repository and execute and provide access, let's say, to this code to my job. So you will see that I'm using the repo that I have previously showed, and this is the GitHub repository. Additionally, I have created a couple of credentials so that I can log into my NetScalers and execute all of the API calls. And this is the Ansible template that I'm going to use. So as I mentioned, I am going to just simply create the content switching configuration and the load balancing configuration. So you will see that I'm going to execute this against this inventory, meaning the 2 different NetScalers. This is the project that I'm going to use. This is the playbook that we are going to execute. I'm keeping verbosity to 0, so I don't want to debug this, and I'm using these credentials. So if we hit launch, we are going to see that we are triggering a new job, which basically will start running our playbook. So you will see that there are several different tasks that are being executed. I'm enabling the load balancing and content switching features. I'm adding some services. I'm adding a new load balancing virtual server, another load balancing virtual server. I'm adding a number of content switching actions, policies, and I'm creating finally the content switching virtual server. And with that, the let's say playbook execution has happened as expected. So let me show you what it really did. So if I open my playbook here, you will see that here I have asked the load balancing and content switching features to be enabled. Then I have asked to create a new service in each one of the NetScalers so that NetScaler can know how to reach these red and green, let's say, applications. Hence, I have created a red server and a green server. Then I have created a load balancing virtual server for the red application and another one for the green application. And for each one of these, I'm using basically the defaults. In addition to that, I have created a number of content switching actions. So I'm basically saying if a certain rule is being, let's say, satisfied, then use this action. And this if is the policy that I am defining. So basically what I'm saying, whenever you are visiting VIP/red, route traffic to the red application. So use this action. When you are visiting /green, use the green action and route traffic to the green application. And to be able to do all of this content switching and inform NetScaler through which IP all of these things need to happen, I need to also specify what is the VIP. So this is my VIP that I'm going to use. And also what are, let's say, the different, let's say, servers that are going to be used and the different policies that are going to be used. So I'm basically creating a content switching virtual server and I'm binding all of the different rules that I have created. So if we go back to each one of the NetScalers, you will see that all of this information are also have also been configured here. So let me also connect here. And meanwhile, as we are waiting for the first one to log in, I will also log in to the second one so that we don't have to wait. So give it 1 or 2 seconds. We are going to see all of these configurations. Let's hit continue here. You will see that this NetScaler is the one on GCP. If we go under the traffic management, you will see that we have created 2 LBV servers. If I hit edit here, you will see that we have done also this binding. So this LBV server has the red service. And if we go also to the content switching, we are going to see also here that we have created our content switching virtual server, which is using the policies that I mentioned. So whenever you are, let's say, visiting the /red, it will route traffic to the red application. And things like that. All of these things can be also seen here. These are our policies, these are our actions. The exact same configuration has happened also on Azure. So if we go here to our traffic management under virtual servers, you will see the same configurations. The only thing that is different here is that we are talking about different IPs because the one is on GCP, the other is on Azure. So if we go back to our content switching application, you will see again a demo CSV server. And if I hit edit, we are expecting to see also again the same policies, but using different IPs. So the last thing that I'm going to do now is I'm going to also visit this one. And you will see that if we visit this virtual IP /red, we are getting a response from Azure. Similarly, if we hit green, we are getting a response from, let's say, from the green application on Azure. If I change the IP and use the IP on GCP, we are getting the response from the application deployed on GCP, similarly to red. Now, one last comment, why this is important, because as I mentioned, we are talking about 2 NetScalers deployed on different public cloud. We are talking about different versions of NetScalers, and you saw how easy it is to just create a template, leverage the same template, and do the exact same configurations in both of the different appliances due to this powerful integration. So with that, I want to thank everyone for seeing the demo, and I would like to ask one additional question. So Rohit, if you can trigger the second poll, and I will give the floor back to John.
Thanks, Konstantinos. Yeah, so you should see the poll showing up here shortly. There it is. Awesome. So for our second question, was the demo relevant for you in your current IT environment? Yes, no, need more information. This stuff is really helpful for us to continue to tailor some of these future webinars and workshops to ensure that the information that we're giving out to you guys is obviously like the most relevant information for you. So appreciate your feedback here. We'll give everybody just a little bit longer to put in.
John, I can see that everyone has answered. It's
Awesome.
100%.
I can actually see the percentages, so thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yes, a little bit more majority of folks saying yes, that the demo was relevant to them, with a couple saying that they need a little bit more information. So perfect segue, right, to a little bit around some of the key takeaways, calls to action. So if you guys are interested in learning a little bit more, highly encourage you guys to take a look at some of the documentation that we have here, not just on Ansible Automation Platform and NetScaler, but also on some of the other things that we're doing together from a joint organization perspective. So all of the content, again, will be sent back out to you, and you'll have access to a lot of these links, but there's a lot of links that you can use to get involved, see how this works within your environment, do some trials around how this specifically looks, again, in your environment. I'd also ask that you guys connect with a local CUGC, Citrix user group, or Red Hat user group in your area. We are looking to do more of these, especially with our partners like Citrix and NetScaler, as we continue to go out, and vice versa with Red Hat at the future user groups as well. So hopefully bringing these a little bit closer to you and actually having one-on-one conversations. Last but not least, I just ask that you, if you're interested in learning a little bit more around a tailored demonstration for your specific environment, reach out to your account teams. One of the things that I love about my job is making sure that we can get our teams together to be able to work with you guys around tailoring some of this content that we've built out and work very hard on building for you guys to leverage, is actually utilized within your environment. So with that being said, we will go ahead and move on to Q&A, and I see a couple of question and answers into the chat. So we'll go ahead and start. Danny, to answer your question, first and foremost, will these links be sent out? Yes, absolutely. The content will be sent in a PDF format to you as a follow-up to this event, and you should be able to access all of those links with that. So thank you for putting that in. A couple questions for you guys. So bear with me as I read this out. When running the different tasks in the Ansible playbook, is a new HTTP connection being made for each task, or are all tasks being run under one HTTP session? And a related question to that is, can all changes be made in one task? So I don't know, Konstantinos, if you or Kev have a good answer for that.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely take this one. So yes, whenever you are using, in every task execution, a new HTTP connection is being made. This is my first question. But we had also this question also from other customers, whether we can also improve this and maintain a single connection for every, for the playbook execution. So there are ways to tackle that. So I would just suggest to reach out to us to give us some more updates about how you can achieve that. To execute everything in a single task, this is something that I think Kevin should take up.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to the extensibility, signals going outbound from Ansible using an API call, RESTful API, there is a value in having each of those calls be separate. And I can't speak specifically to the modules and the way they're written, but based on my understanding of it, I'm pretty sure what I'm saying here is accurate to this exact use case where let's say hypothetically we want to perform 3 actions. We would say the first action, I want to probe this to look at the current state. The second action, I want to make a change to that state. And the third action, I want to evaluate, probe that again, and see if that change was made. The module then evaluates itself. Like diving deep into how this works, we can't get that same information or that same level of detail about the logging and the success without doing those as separate API calls. So there are oftentimes different ways to just lay an entire piece of configuration or to make an API call that will, that outbound signal will effectively say, here's what I want, and just do it. There is an advantage to having multiple API calls. And if there's, this is something we're definitely offline, we should talk about if the number of API calls or the extent of that is a concern, the HTTP connections, then, definitely we could dive in and have a deeper conversation about that. But the value in this, in having multiple HTTP connections, is that you're getting a certain amount of information back from each individual one, whereas doing this as one lump might not provide that. So hopefully that was helpful to answer that question.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is relevant for it, but I think for auditing purposes, for what you're talking about, Kevin, that would be kind of crucial to that, to say, hey, look, like, which are the bits and pieces for there, so that way you can track if there's any issues or optimizations that can happen, right?
Absolutely. And if I can double click on that one step further, you made a great point with auditing. Part of this, as well as the way these modules are often written, is that where you can run things in a check mode or a dry run mode, to where that one action that I want to perform, I might need those 3 different HTTP connections or API calls in order to make that module flexible in that situation. There are a lot of times when we say within Ansible Automation Platform, I want to run something, but I'm going to run it just in check mode, because in a production environment, I need to make a report. There's a lot that we can automate within Ansible without making changes to a production environment as well. So yeah, excellent example there, John. Thank you for that.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Konstantinos, I'm going to toss this one over to you. How can we get a trial license for Citrix ADC? Was a question that was put into the chat.
Yeah, so the easier answer to that is that you can definitely use the freemium version. So all of the things that I have covered today during the demo do not require any license. So you can definitely use, let's say, a bring your own device license from public cloud, or you can download ADC from our portal and test all of these things that I mentioned. So there isn't any need for license to use NetScaler with Ansible. All of these things are supported 100% with a freemium license. The only limitations that are there are limitations related to how much traffic is going to be allowed from the device itself, things like that. But that doesn't limit you to also do the exact same things that I showed in demo. The limitations will come when it comes to using WAF, using bot management, these type of things. But to get more information, I would highly suggest the two of us to connect, and we can definitely, let's say, provide you help on this one.
Awesome. Kev, next one for you. Could the Ansible automation piece be just as easily applied with AWX or other open source solutions?
Oh yes, AWX, our open source stepbrother. No, it's AWX is the open source project for Ansible, and I love these questions because it's a frequent question where we're trying to do things at a cost cutting, feature for feature. There is a similarity. The difference comes with AWX being a project, and Ansible Automation Platform is a product. And a lot of what happens from the time we take the open source bits and then distribute them, support them, validate them, confirm that they're going to work in a stable manner in an enterprise environment, a lot of what goes into that is missing right from the upstream project. So feature for feature, there's really no guarantee or no certainty. And, realistically, some people will test it like that. I encourage people to test on the Ansible Automation Platform, the supported enterprise version of it, just because there are absolutely going to be differences in the way things take place from then and there. So I could get on a soapbox and talk about the value and all of the reasons that the supported Ansible Automation Platform is a far superior solution for that. But I won't go into that now. But I'll just say, all in all, short answer, No, it would be a different experience, and along with the partnership that we have, and the way we work closely here with Citrix, and the way this is tested and vetted and supported, it is specific to the Ansible automation platform for a reason, because that's what we can control.
Beautiful. Thank you, guys. So I see we're up at the top of the hour. So I just want to thank you all again so very much for spending the last hour with us. I see that there's some additional questions that are coming in. We will follow up with you guys with the answers to these questions in the follow-up as well. So again, thank you guys so much for spending this past hour with us. We appreciate you guys. Keep a lookout for some of the information and the follow-ups that are going to be coming out. And again, if you guys are interested in learning more, we highly recommend that you reach out to your account teams, follow up with some of the information, or follow up with us that we're here on the call today. So thank you guys again. Appreciate your time. Thanks for sticking around with us, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, guys.